Hello, Scratchers. Welcome to another episode of Tenant Win. I am back with another video. Today we got that treasure hunt ticket series, $3 ticket series here in Missouri with odds of winning 1 in 3.82. Man, y'all already know how we do things here over at Tenant Win in multiples of 10. So if you haven't already, y'all make sure y'all hit that 10X button at the end of the video and become a part of the 10X family. We definitely want to welcome everybody to the 10X family. With that being said, I have tickets number 1 through 10. You know I like when it end on that 10. We rep that 10 over here real hard. So anytime it end on that 10, I'm all for it. And we are looking to match our symbols to the symbols on the 2 grids and get a line in a horizontal or vertical row, win the prize for that line. Line in the horizontal or vertical row, win the prize for that line. With that being said, let's rake them together, give you all a good shot, and go do some hunting for treasure. Man, anytime I can hunt for some treasure, man, I'm all for it. Shoot, it's time to go hunting for some treasure. See what type of treasure we gonna find today on this treasure hunt ticket series. Again, we gonna rake them together, give y'all a good shot. Want to make sure you can see that whole ticket. All right, ticket number 1 looks like a pretty good shot. Ticket number 1 we have for the winning symbols or our symbols, or look like we got you know, scratch all those off, and we'll see what we got. All right. Ticket number 1 on this treasure hunt ticket series on the 10X side, we have an octopus and a lock. Octopus and a lock. Do we have any locks? Got a lock there. Going treasure hunt. So definitely looking for some nice treasure. Octopus and a lock. Do you? Oh, that octopus is trying to hide on grid number 1. Octopus trying to hide on grid number 1. Next we have a pirate and a telescope. Pirate and a telescope. No, we have a parrot. I'm sorry. Parrot and a telescope. Thought there was a pirate. All right, look, you're talking about the bird. Talking about the bird. We have a parrot on grid 1 and 2, and a telescope. Do we have any telescopes? No telescopes on grid 1 or grid number 2. Next we have pearls and a stack. Pearls and a stack. Got a stack there. Looking for pearls. Got a pearl down below. Pearls down below and no stack. Next we have an skull and a gem. Skull and a gem. Skull and a gem. Got a skull here on grid number 1. Skull down below on grid number 2. Do we have any gems? I see a gem there on grid number 2. And no gems on grid number 1. Next we have an emerald and a ship. Emerald and a ship. Have an emerald here on grid number 2. Do we have any ships? Any ships? Any ships? Looking for a ship. Up. There we go. On grid 2, got a ship down below. Next we have the sun and an anchor. Got an anchor and the sun on grid number 2. Just right off the bat. Anchor and the sun on grid 2. Do we have an anchor or sun on grid 1? No anchor and no sun on grid 1. Next we have a compass and a shark. Compass and a shark. Got a compass here on grid 1. Compass and a shark. Got a shark on grid number 2. Next we have a crab and a map. Crab and a map. Got a map here on grid number 1. Got a crab here on grid number 1. Treasure hunt we are going. no crab, and no compass on grid number 2. And last but not least, we have a wheel and a coin. Wheel and a coin. No wheel and no coin on grid 1. On grid 2, I'm sorry, got a coin up top and no wheel. So no lines vertical or horizontal. Do have a wheel, but no lines vertical or horizontal on ticket number 1. Ticket number 2 on this treasure hunt ticket series, and we are looking to heat up. Our symbols are, get our symbols on scratched out and see if we can get something good on this treasure hunt ticket series. Say you can win 50,000, boy, you talking about some treasure hunt. That would be all right with me. 50,000 on the treasure hunt. All right, our symbols are, we have a cannon and a stack. Cannon and a stack. Got a cannon on grid 1. Cannon on grid 1. No stack and no cannon on grid number 2. Next we have a pirate and a telescope. Got a telescope on grid number 1. Pirate on grid number 1. All right, got a telescope on grid 2 and no pirate on grid 2. Next we have a cannonball and the sun. Cannonball and the sun. All right. Cannonball on grid 1. Got a sun on grid 2. And no sun on grid 1. Next we have a tree and a compass. Got a compass and a tree back to back on grid number 1. Down below, we have no tree and no compass. Next, we have an emerald and a gem. Got an emerald and a gem on grid number 2. Got an emerald on grid 1, but no gem. Next, we have a patch and an anchor. Got an anchor on grid number 1. Got a patch on grid number 2, and no anchor. Next we have a map and a diamond. Lady likes the diamonds. Ladies definitely like the diamonds. Got a diamond on grid 2 and a map on grid 1. Next we have a key and a lock. Or should I say a lock and key. Got a lock on grid 1. Grid 2, we have a key and no lock. Last but not least, we have an octopus and a coin. Octopus and a coin. Got a coin, but no octopus down below. Got a coin up top. Oh, do have an octopus down below, but no matches, horizontal or vertical, on ticket number 2. All right, now it's time to start finding some treasures. We doing the hunting. Time to find some treasures. Our symbols are, see if we can get us some good symbols, some winning symbols this time. All right. Got all our symbols crossed off now. See if we can find some treasure. All right. Our symbols are an oyster and a gem. Oyster and a gem. Got an oyster and a gem down below on grid 2. No oyster or gem on grid number 1. Next we have a lock and a seahorse. A lock and a seahorse. Lock and a seahorse. Got a lock down below on grid number 2 and a seahorse on grid 2. No lock and no seahorse on grid number 1. Next, we have a skull and an emerald. Got an emerald and a skull back to back again on grid number 2. Got a skull on grid 1. Do we have an emerald? No emerald on grid number 1. Next, we have a shark and a compass. A shark and a compass. Got a shark on grid number 2 and a compass on grid number 2, but no compass and no shark on grid number 1. Next, we have a gold bar and a ring. A gold bar and a ring. No ring and no gold bar on grid number 2, and no ring and no gold bar on grid. Is that a ring? Is this? Oh yeah, that's a ring on grid 1. Do have a ring on grid 1, but no gold bar. Next, we have a parrot and a wheel. Parrot and a wheel. Got a wheel on grid 2. Got a wheel on grid 1 and a parrot on grid 1. Next, we have an anchor and a telescope. Got an anchor on grid 1, anchor and a telescope on grid 2. Next, we have a cannon and a crab. A cannon and a crab. Got a crab on grid number 1. A cannon on grid 2. No cannon on grid 1. Next, we have money bag and a cannonball. Money bag and a cannonball. Got that money bag and a cannonball on grid number 1. Money bag and cannonball. No money bag and no cannonball on grid number 2. So no matches, horizontal or vertical, on ticket number 3. All right, now I'm really waiting to start hitting these treasures on this treasure hunt ticket series. Time to start getting some of these treasures. Ticket number 4. Can y'all see that? Ticket number 4 on this treasure hunt ticket series. Our symbols are ticket number 4. Trying to get some of these treasures. Say we going treasure hunting, then treasure is what I'm looking for. We treasure hunting, I'm definitely looking for treasures. All right, winning symbols. Our symbols are ring and a coin. Ring and a coin. Got a ring right off the bat on grid number 1. Looking for a coin. Do we have a coin? No coin on grid 1. No coin and no ring on grid number 2. Next, we have anchor and a patch. Anchor and a patch. Got a patch on grid 1. Do we have an anchor? Yep, we got an anchor on grid 2, but no patch. Next, we have a telescope and a ship. Telescope and a ship. Telescope on grid 2 and a ship. No ships on grid 1 or grid number 2. Got a ship right down there in the corner. Boy, every time I be finna say it, run right into a ship on grid number 2. Next, we have cannonball and compass. Got a compass on grid 1 and grid 2. And a cannonball. Any cannonball. No cannonball. Got a cannonball on grid 1. Boy, I did it again. Next, we have a diamond and a wheel. Diamond and a wheel. Got a wheel on grid 2. Diamond on grid 1. But no wheel on grid number 1. Next, we have an emerald and pearls. Pearls on grid 1. Emerald on grid 2. And no pearls on grid number 2. Next, we have a pirate and a gold bar. Pirates and a gold bar. Got a gold bar and a pirates on grid 2. Up top, do we have any gold bars or pirates? No gold bars or pirates on grid number 1. Next, we have a money bag and a cannon. Got a cannon on grid number 1. Got a money bag on grid number 2, and no cannon. Next, we have stack and oyster. Stack and oyster. Stack and oyster. There's the oyster on grid 1 with no stack. Got a stack there and no oyster on grid number 2. So nothing on ticket number 4. Man, what are these treasures hiding at? Definitely looking to get some of these treasures. I don't know where they hiding, but I'm looking for them. All right, ticket number 5 on this treasure hunt ticket series. Our symbols are, look like we got a chest and a ship to begin with. Chest and a ship to begin with. All right, it's time to start finding some of these treasures they talking about on this treasure hunt ticket series. Looking for a map, not a ship, a map and a chest. A map and a chest. Got a map on grid 1 with no chest. Got a chest on grid 2 with no map. Next, we have a gem and a wheel. Gem and a wheel. Got a wheel on grid 1. A gem on grid 2 and no wheel. Next, we have a diamond and an anchor. Diamond and an anchor. Got an anchor on grid 2. Diamond on grid 1 and no anchor. Next, we have a key and a money bag. Key and a money bag. Got a key on grid 1. Money bag on grid number 2 and no key. Next, we have the sun and a compass. Got the sun on grid number 2 and the compass on grid number 1. No compass on grid number 2. Next, we have a pirate and an oyster. Got an oyster and a pirate on grid number 1. Got a pirate and no oyster on grid number 2. Next, we have a ship and a coin. Ship and a coin. Ship and a coin. Got a ship on grid number 2 and no coin. Got a coin on grid number 1 and no ship. Next, we have a stack and pearls. Stack and pearls. Got a stack on grid 1 and pearls on grid number 2 and no stack. And last but not least, we have a skull and a gold bar. Skull and a gold bar. Got a skull on grid 1, skull on grid number 2, and a gold bar. No gold bar on grid number 1 or grid number 2. So no wins on ticket number 5, horizontal or vertical. Wow, really starting to play hardball. Ticket number 6 on this treasure hunt ticket series. Now, ready to start seeing some of these treasures. Ticket number 6 on this treasure hunt ticket series. We have our symbols are, look like we got a chest and a cannon. Chest and a cannon. Chest and a cannon. Got a cannon on grid number 1. All right, and a chest on grid number 1. Okay then. Well, let's start off with some that get treasures. Chest on grid 2 and no cannon. All right, next we got a money bag and a ring. Got a ring on grid number 1. Money bag on grid number 2. Next, we have a cannonball and a crab. Cannonball and a crab. Got a cannonball on grid number 1. Do we have a crab? Yep, we got a crab on grid number 2 and no cannonball. Next, we have a shovel and a map. Shovel and a map. Got a map on grid number 1. Shovel on grid number 2 and no map. Next, we have a telescope and a parrot. Telescope and a parrot. Got a parrot up top on grid number 1. Also have a telescope on grid number 1. Telescope on grid number 2. And parrot on grid number 2. Next, we have skull and an octopus. You have an octopus on grid number 1. Skull on grid number 2. And no octopus. Next, we have a gold bar and an oyster. Gold bar and an oyster. Do have an oyster on grid 1. No gold bar or oyster on grid 2. Next, we have an anchor and pearls. Anchor and pearls. We have pearls on grid 1, anchor on grid 2, and no pearls. And last but not least, we have a patch and a diamond. Patch and a diamond on grid number 2. No patch and no diamond on grid number 1. Wow, they are really playing hardball. Wow, really playing hardball. Ticket number 7 on this treasure hunt ticket series, we have our symbols are definitely looking to see some treasures now. I mean, they really playing hardball. They must gonna give me quite the treasure as hard of a hardball they are playing. I must finna get quite the treasure. Alright. Our symbols are looking to get a nice treasure on this treasure hunt ticket 7. Looking to get a nice treasure. We are looking for a map and an emerald. Map and an emerald. We got a map on grid 1. Map and an emerald. Got an emerald on grid 2. And no map. Next, we have a telescope and a shark. Telescope and a shark. Telescope and a shark. Got a shark on grid 2 and a telescope on grid number 2. Next, we have a parrot and a cannon. Parrot and a cannon. Got a parrot on grid 1. Any cannon? Nope, no cannon on grid 1, but do have a cannon on grid 2 and no parrot. Next, we have a lock and a crab. Lock and a crab. Got a crab on grid number 1. Got a lock on grid number 2 and no crab. Next, we have a chest and an octopus. Chest and an octopus. We got a chest on grid number 1. And no octopus. And no chest or octopus on grid number 2. Next, we have a money bag and a stack. Got a money bag on grid number 1. Money bag and a stack. Got a money bag and a stack. Got a money bag on grid number 1. Next, we have an anchor and an oyster. Anchor and an oyster. Got an anchor on grid 1. No anchor and do have an oyster on grid number 2. Next, we have a ring and a ship. Got a ship on grid number 1 and a ring on grid number 1. Grid 2, we have no ring and no ship on grid number 2. And last but not least, we have a wheel and a gem. Got a wheel and a gem on grid number 2. Got a wheel and no gem on grid number 1. So nothing on ticket number 7, horizontal or vertical. I mean, they are really, really playing hardball. Wow. Ticket number 8 on this treasure hunt ticket series. Still looking to get some type of treasure. We have our symbols of look like the sun and a telescope. The sun and a telescope. The sun and a telescope. All right, got the sun on grid number 1. Do we have a telescope? Do have a telescope on grid 2 and the sun on grid number 2. Ticket number 8, looking to get some treasure. Next, we have a wheel and a parrot. Wheel and a parrot. Got a parrot on grid 1. Got a wheel and a parrot on grid number 2. Next, we have a patch and a crab. Patch and a crab. Got a patch and a crab on grid 1. No patch and no crab on grid number 2. Next, we have a gem and a skull. Gem and a skull. Have a gem on grid number 2, but no skull on grid 1 or grid number 2. Next, we have a gold bar and a diamond. Gold bar and a diamond for the ladies. Do have a diamond on grid number 1 and a gold bar on grid number 2. Next, we have an octopus and a stack. Got a stack and an octopus on grid 2. Got an octopus and no stack on grid number 1. Next, we have an oyster and a pirate. Got a pirate on grid 2 and an oyster on grid number 1. Next, we have a cannonball and an emerald. Got an emerald on grid number 2 for a match going horizontal. A match going horizontal on grid 2. Looking for a cannonball. We do have a cannonball on grid number 1. And last but not least, we have a chest and a key. Have a key on grid number 2. Chest and a key. We have a chest on grid 1 and a key on grid number 1. So we do have a line going horizontal on grid number 2 going down here for a price of $3 on ticket number 8. Oh man, they made me wait that long to get a $3 treasure. Man, these treasure hunt ticket series is really playing hardball. But hey, hopefully they'll heat up. You know, we like to go out with that 10th ticket and the number 10. So hey, we'll see what happens. Ticket number 9 on this treasure hunt ticket series. We have ticket number 9. Let's see what we have. Our symbols are ticket number 9, an octopus and a seahorse. Octopus and a seahorse. Got an octopus on grid 1. Seahorse on grid number 2. And no octopus. Next, we have a crab and an oyster. Crab and an oyster. Got an oyster on line 1. Got a crab on grid 1. Crab and an oyster. No crab or oyster on grid 2. Next, we have a lock and a shovel. Lock and a shovel. Lock and a shovel. No lock on grid 1. Do have a lock on grid 2. Also a shovel on grid 2 and a shovel on grid number 1. Next, we have a ship and a stack. Got a stack on grid number 1. No ship on grid number 1, but we do have a ship on grid 2 and no stack. Next, we have a cannonball and an anchor. Cannonball and an anchor. Got an anchor on grid number 1. Cannonball on grid number 1 and an anchor, on grid number 2. Next, we have a telescope and an emerald. Telescope and an emerald. Got an emerald on grid 2. Looking for a telescope, no telescope, or emerald on grid number 1. Next, we have a diamond and a map. Diamond and a map. Got a map and a diamond for the ladies on grid number 1. No diamond and no map on grid number 2. Next, we have a chest and a coin. Chest and a coin. Got a chest on grid 2. Coin on grid number 1. And no chest. And last but not least, we have a wheel and a shark. A wheel and a shark. Got a wheel on grid number 1 and a shark and no wheel on grid number 2. So no matches, horizontal or vertical, on ticket number 9. Last ticket, ticket number 10 here on 10 and Win. On this treasure hunt ticket series here, we can go out with a really nice bang on this 10 ticket here. We're going to scratch off our symbols, make these winning symbols, as a matter of fact, and see just what type of treasure we gonna hit on ticket number 10. You know, we rep that 10 over here real strong. So let's see what ticket number 10 brings us today in a form of treasures. All right, ticket number 10 on this treasure hunt ticket series, last and 10 ticket here on 10 and Win. We have a cannon and a ring. Cannon and a ring. Cannon and a ring. Got a ring on grid number 1. Cannon and a ring. Cannon and a ring. No ring on grid 2, but we do have a cannon on grid number 1. No ring or cannon on grid 2. Next, we have a parrot and a diamond for the ladies. A parrot and a diamond for the ladies. Got a parrot on grid 1 and a diamond on grid number 2. Next, we have an octopus and a tree. Octopus and a tree. Got a tree on grid number 1. I'm sorry. Octopus and a tree. Got an octopus on grid 2. Next, we have a patch and an oyster. Got an oyster on grid 1. A patch on grid number 2. Next, we have a gem and pearls. We have pearls and a gem on grid 2. And no pearls and no gem on grid number 1. Next, we have a chest and an anchor. We have a chest and an anchor on grid 1. A chest on grid 2, but no anchor. Next, we have a money bag and a crab. Got a crab on grid 1. Money bag and a crab. Got a money bag also on grid 2. And a crab, and no money bag or crab on grid number 1. Next, we have a wheel and a shovel. A wheel and a shovel. Wheel and a shovel. Got a shovel on grid 2, but no wheel or shovel on grid number 1. And last but not least, we have a coin and a compass. Coin and a compass. Can we go out with a win? Oh! Got a win right there on grid 2 going vertical. Coin and a compass right at the end too. Got a coin and a compass also on grid 2, but no other wins. No other wins. Just want to make sure that I didn't miss anything. No other wins. Do have a line on grid number 2, going vertical for a prize of, come on, a good one now, $3 on ticket number 10. Wow, man, this was a hard series. Hey, really played hardball, but did give us some type of treasure at the end there. So be sure to check out that treasure hunt ticket series when you're out there getting your scratches. Be sure to click on that 10X button, become a part of the 10X family. We definitely want to welcome everybody to the 10X family. And be sure to click on that next video, and I'll meet you there.